T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Drunk Turkey Show. I'm Daniel, and today we're going to be talking about an unfortunate incident that occurred over the weekend out near Houston, Texas, where an individual went in and shot or attempted to shoot and made shots inside of Lakewood Church, famously known for being Joel Osteen's church. And so today we're going to be talking about that situation, what we've learned. We have some surveillance footage from inside. We have the search warrant, the search warrant and some other documents that detail what happened. It's pretty crazy situation. Without further ado, let's get this thing started. So this is who has been, her life was taken as well. She apparently went in there with a 7-year-old boy into the church and took a shot at somebody. And the church there had armed guards that were off duty. I think one was like a federal agent for firearms and tobacco. And the other one was an off-duty officer, I believe. But this is who had committed this crime. But let's, before we get into all that, let's let me bring up, what happened and who this is. All right, so this is from KHOU 11. What we know about the Lakewood Church shooter. Her name is Genesse Ivonne Moreno, 36. Her life was taken by an off-duty officer when she opened fire with an AR-15 inside. Now, from what I understand, that is not accurate. It was not a AR-15. It was just a rifle, from what I understand. But do correct me if I'm wrong. I know you guys will. So it said that there was a sticker on the rifle that said Palestine, which I believe it said like something else about Palestine. We'll go through it. So we've learned more about the Conroe woman whose life was taken on Sunday after walking into a Lakewood church and opening fire. On Monday, Houston police confirmed the shooter, Genesse Ivonne Moreno, 36, and they're describing her as female. She also was going by the name of Jeffrey, and there's been some indication that she may have identified as transgender. I'm not sure if that's 100% been confirmed or not. But that is some of the speculation that is going around. So I do want to advise people of that. And why would she bring her own child? From what I understand is, and this might be very difficult to hear, is she used the child as a shield. Which, in my law enforcement career, I was in a situation not where somebody's life was taken, but where somebody used their child as a shield. And we went into a situation where it was a domestic issue, husband, wife, and we go in through the door. We arrive on scene. We can hear the disturbance from outside, so we break in through the door. And the guy, he'd been in the system a few times, and so his son came out of the back hallway. He was standing in the hallway where the restroom was. His wife was locked in the restroom. He was banging on the door, trying to get in. And when we broke in, me and him made eye contact. And then he turned back, and I saw a little boy come out of the back room down the hall. And this guy just booked it. Now, this dude was probably about 5'9", 320 pounds or so. And so he's booking it, running away from me. I chase him down, grab him, throw him against the wall. But in the same time, he grabs the little boy. And so he's holding on to the little boy and putting him up to his face in efforts to not get pepper sprayed. And so I'm having a, fight with the guy and try to, get the boy out of his arms. And fortunately, there was a couple of other officers that arrived on scene with me, and they were able to help me out, get that situation taken care of. One guy ended up getting the child away, and he was screaming, yelling for his dad. He thought we were doing something wrong. And long story short, we ended up pulling him out and arresting him, and he had a rap sheet too. And unfortunately, I think I want to say about 6, 7, 8 months later, one of his children would pass because I think they ended up swallowing a screw or something when parents weren't taking care of them, something of that nature. It was a pretty crazy situation. All right, let's get back into this. It says the TABC agent and the HPD officer shot and killed Moreno. During the gun battle, the little boy was shot in the head. He was in still critical condition and fighting for his life when we checked on him on Monday afternoon. A 57-year-old man, an innocent bystander, was also shot in the leg and has been released from the hospital. A new video obtained by KHOU 11 News, you hear gunshots and see chaos inside of the church in the Greenway Plaza area about 6 miles from downtown Houston. Finder said that they're still working to determine how Moreno got the weapon, since she had a long rap sheet and mental health history. Interesting. That's crazy. Now, I got that video. Let me pull that up. I thought I had that video. Give me a sec. If not, I can pull it up real quick.
Gotten new video from inside Lakewood Church at the moment of yesterday's shooting, plus 3 independent sources telling us that 36-year-old Genesse Moreno is the armed woman who fired multiple rounds and was then killed by off-duty officers. We've been working around the clock since the news broke yesterday afternoon, and this just in, investigators tell us the child who was shot in all of this sustained critical injuries, and authorities are unsure.
The shots rang out just minutes before the Spanish language service was set to begin at Lakewood. You could hear people in the video saying, calm down, in an effort to avoid further chaos as people run for cover. We also got another video that shows people running out of the service and police officers running towards the direction of gunfire. Here is that moment. All that chaos caught on video. These are new perspectives we are learning about today, and we're also learning more about the alleged shooter today. 3 independent sources confirmed to KHOU's investigative reporter Jeremy Rogowski that the identity of the suspect is 36-year-old Genesse Ivonne Moreno. Moreno also went by Jeffrey Escalante in the past. She has previous arrests for several crimes, including unlawful carrying a weapon. Now, here at Lakewood, just within the last...
Pam says, yeah, she was stopped out here by me with guns in her car and charged. I don't know how she got more guns. Are you an officer out there, Pam? Nice to meet you, and welcome to the show.
Hour, we saw Pastor Joel Osteen drive up and arrive and enter Lakewood Church here again just within the last hour. The investigation into the shooting also continues. We're expecting an update from Houston Police later this afternoon at 1:30. Meanwhile, another investigation happening in Conroe into a home that is believed to be connected to the shooting. My colleague Ugochi Iloka has been covering that in the overnight hours. Ugochi, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Victor, we just got the search warrant for the shooter's home within the last 30 minutes. Now, Houston police say the Lakewood Church shooter stays at did stay at this home, lived here off of Gulfstream Drive. A car actually just pulled up here live, as you can see. After this report, we'll see what we can find out. A woman walking in the house now. Now, it states the search warrant, authorities had reason to believe guns, ammunition, and explosive materials were in the house after the shooter made threats of having a bomb at the church. We're going through that search warrant right now. 3 independent sources confirmed to KHU 11 the 36-year-old Genesse Moreno, also known as Jeffrey Escaliente, in the past walked inside Lakewood Church on Sunday with a long rifle and started shooting. Federal agents were spotted in this Conroe neighborhood last night searching the house where the shooter stayed. Our cameras were rolling when Moreno's car was towed outside the home just within the last couple of hours. HPD says Moreno was shot and killed by 2 off-duty officers yesterday, and a child as young as 5 with her was shot in the crossfire along with a man. Back at the scene of the home, one neighbor describes how long this street was blocked off by law enforcement agencies.
I think it was for about 2 hours before I finally was able to come home, which was really scary because my wife was here with our kiddo, but no one was telling me what was going on. Why are there all these police officers here?
Yeah, as for that child shot, within the last 30 minutes, we did check. That child is still in critical condition in the hospital. That young boy is still fighting for his life. We also just learned from authorities that that child sustained very severe injuries, and it's really unclear right now if that child will survive. So obviously, several people pulling for this child to make it through, and we are still working to find out the shooter's connection to the child in the hospital currently.
So at the time of this recording here, this broadcast, it was unsure, the relationship with the child. I've heard it's her child. I'm not sure if that's exactly true or not. Let me pull up some more of these articles here, and we'll go through them. This is wrong. This might be the one that had the search warrant. No. Hold on. Yeah, it probably was. All right. Oh, well. I'll pull it up some other way. Not a big deal. All right. So, yeah, this is the one I think we read already. It was not expected to survive. Oh, no, this is the other one. This is from the Tron. This says Texas Alcohol and Beverage Commission Officer Adrian Herrera was identified Monday as one of the 2 officers who downed the suspect perpetrator in Sunday's Lakewood Church shooting. TABC confirmed that Herrera was working off duty as a security officer at the church when the person opened fire with a long rifle in the lobby of the building. Apparently, this person walked in with like a trench coat and had like a backpack and a long rifle. I know that in the other article that we read that said that it was a AR. And I know there's been a couple of press conferences. We'll pull into those. And I know that this thing's kind of turned a little bit political. So we'll kind of navigate through those waters as well. So it says Herrera and other officers responded by engaging the shooter and neutralizing the threat, the agency stated. Officials, be best if I shared it, right? Officials with the agency are working with the local and state investigators to uncover more details as to the motive behind the shooting. It has been placed on paid administrative leave pending the outcome of the internal TABC investigation into the shooting. The child may not survive. The 5-year-old shot. And see, there's the other thing. There's been some conflicting stories, whether it was a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old. So I'm not sure the identity or if the connection to the lady that went in there. I think there's been some assumptions that it's her child. The child, who's not been identified, was wounded when gunfire exchanged with 2 off-duty police officers working security for the church. The child came into Lakewood Church with the woman, Houston Police Chief Troy Finner said Sunday. The child was transported to the Texas Children's Hospital in critical condition. Free Palestine was written on the gun in the shooting. Free Palestine was written on the gun belonging to the woman who entered the Lakewood Church on Sunday and opened fire. According to ABC News report, sources told ABC News investigators a pouring through the suspect's social media and writings determined the motive of for the shooting. So there is some sort of manifesto then. Well, maybe not. It says they're going through their media and writings. Well, did they find some writings? Like, did they find a journal? Is that what that means? I'm curious. Detectives believe the suspect may have fired as many as 12 shots. See, that's the other thing. I heard that there was only like one person intended, and that this had something to do with like the father of a child. I'm assuming the child that she may have taken in. I don't know. And that there was some anti-Semitic writings somewhere. And so it's kind of interesting. It's pretty weird. Pretty weird situation so far. April asked, did she shoot the child? No, it wasn't her. I believe it was one of the agents or the officers that were shooting at her. All right, so it says the shooter entered Lakewood on Sunday with a long rifle. All right, here we are. The 36-year-old previously identified as Jeffrey Escalante had prior arrests for assault, forgery, marijuana possession, theft, evading, and unlawful carrying of a weapon, according to HKOU's Jeremy Rogalski, according to the Texas Department of Public Safety record search. Her criminal record dates back to 2005. So here's an image of her. She's supposed to have been having some sort of, having a history of mental problems. I wonder if she has, a drug addiction problem as well. There's some pictures that let me pull those up real quick. Let's go with this one. Oh, wrong one. My bad, guys. So here's a picture of her in 2010. Another one. So this is 05, 09. So I went the wrong way. My bad. And this is her now, or here recently. This was in 2022. The spots on her face. I don't know. I'm not a doctor or anything like that. That I've seen them with those that have been using narcotics before. So I'll just leave it at that. These are a few pictures from her Facebook that we were able to go into. Let's see. Thank you so much, Canadian True Crime Buff. We appreciate you with your 5 Drunk Turkey Show gift membership. Make sure you guys turn on your gift memberships so you can get one of those. Here's another picture from her Facebook. Here's her Facebook. Details say that she's an agent at Modry Real Estate Advisors, entrepreneur CEO at Direction Acquisition Solutions, also at Gem Properties, former real estate agent at BHGRE Gray Green. So she worked a lot in real estate, lived in Houston, from Houston, in a relationship. Now, these are some things that she had posted on. And this one's from April 18, 2015. So it's some time ago, but it's kind of odd. I mean, she didn't have anything as of recent. Everything was from a while ago. So these things probably have no indication or no value to, or maybe it probably has some value, not very much, to her state of mind in 2024. Get what I'm saying? So this says here, I had to repost, perhaps some of us, if we reach that age, laugh out loud, no, really, enjoy life, embrace life, take risks. So the state trooper stopped a 95-year-old woman on Interstate 20 and noticed as he was checking her driver's license that she had a concealed carry permit. He said, "Any guns with you?" And she said, "Yes, a 45 Smith & Wesson, and in the glove compartment, a 357 Magnum in the console, and a 38 Special in my purse." The trooper said, "Lady, what are you scared of?" And she said, "Not a damn thing." So this lady's got a bunch of guns. She's been found with a bunch of guns. She's had crimes where she was illegally carrying guns. So just kind of a bit of a mindset there. This is another awkward type of thing that she had on there. It says, "As a Christian, I can't judge. Things happen for XYZ reasons. I think he has embraced life as well as WXY reasons. And this is a man who took the life of somebody who took advantage of a child, and why he did it in 9 words. So it's interesting things that she had put up there. What's up, 49ers girl? She's been a member for 5 months. I bet it was a frustrating day for you frustrating day for you yesterday. I was pulling for you guys. I thought you guys were going to get it. I thought that y'all had it there. Pam comes in saying right now there's a lot of people running around here with mental health issues. Yeah. It's crazy. It's a crazy time right now we live. Is she a biological male or female? She's a biological female from what I understand. And from where everybody has been reporting. And so, let's see. It says female, white, 5'5", 190 pounds. And this is from another arrest. This is for the unlawful carrying of a weapon. This happened on the 4th or April 2nd, 2022. I apologize. It's crazy. I don't know where she gets, where she would have gotten these guns from. But this is where she was born. She was born in El Salvador. I don't think that's in Texas. I could be wrong. Maybe there is in El Salvador, Texas, but I don't think so. Non-Hispanic. And she goes by the name Jeffrey Escalante Moreno. And Jeffrey Escalante Moreno. That's been the primary one. But they're calling her, I'm assuming her birth name is Genesse Ivonne Moreno. And this was a biological female. I don't know if, that wasn't, she wasn't identifying or was identifying as male or female, but I think it's been alluded, and also because of the name Jeffrey, that she was transgender. Let's see. So crazy stuff. Let me pull up the I'm gonna pull up the press conference real quick so we can watch that. Let's watch this one real quick.
Yeah, Victor, we just got the search warrant for the shooter's home within the last 30 minutes. Now, Houston police say the Lakewood Church shooter did stay at this home, lived here off of Gulfstream Drive. A car actually just pulled up here live, as you can see. After this report, we'll see what we can find out. A woman walking in the house now. Now, it states the search warrant, authorities had reason to believe guns, ammunition, and explosive materials were in the house after the shooter made threats of having a bomb at the church. We're going through that search warrant right now. 3 independent sources confirmed to KHU 11 the 36-year-old Genesse Moreno, also known as Jeffrey Escalante, in the past walked inside Lakewood Church on Sunday with a long rifle and started shooting. Federal agents were spotted in this Conroe neighborhood last night searching the house where the shooter stayed. Our cameras were rolling when Moreno's car was towed outside the home just within the last couple of hours. HPD says Moreno was shot and killed by 2 off-duty officers yesterday, and a child as young as 5 with her was shot in the crossfire along with a man. Back at the scene of the home, one neighbor describes how long this street was blocked off by law enforcement agencies.
I think it was for about 2 hours before I finally was able to come home, which was really scary because my wife was here with our kiddo, but no one was telling me what was going on. Why are there all these police officers here?
Yeah, as for that child shot, within the last 30 minutes, we did check that child is still in critical condition in the hospital. that young boy still fighting for his life. We also just learned from authorities that that child sustained very severe injuries, and it's really unclear right now if that child will survive. So obviously, several people pulling for this child to make it through, and we are still working to find out the shooter's connection to the child in the hospital currently. Reporting live in Conroe, Ugochi Iloka, KHOU 11 News.
Crazy stuff. Like I said, man, it's a crazy situation. And, you know, one thing that I guess needs to kind of be, discussed there is, well, let's look at this
Good
first.
afternoon. I'm Christopher Hassig, Commander, HPD Homicide, also leader of our Special Investigations Unit, last name HASSIG. I just want to talk about the investigative steps, where we're at, what we've accomplished so far, and what we're going to be doing moving forward. All right. Please be mindful. We are approximately 24 hours into this investigation. It's very fluid, and the investigators under my Special Investigations Unit have been working around the clock and gathering information this entire time. So yesterday, February 11th, at 13:53, at 1:53 p.m., we had an individual pull up in front of Lakewood Church on the west side of the building off of Timmins. She gets out of her white vehicle. She opens the door, pulls out the 7-year-old child out of the back seat, as well as a bag that is with her. She confronts a security guard who lets her in along the west side of the building. At 1:55 p.m., she immediately starts firing inside of the hallway on the west side of Lakewood Church. She's in the hall, not in the sanctuary. Multiple rounds are fired by her, at which point Officer Moreno of the Houston Police Department, working an approved extra job at the location, as well as TABC Agent Herrera, return fire, and the exchange is all there on the west side of the building, in the hallway. Multiple shots are exchanged by all three. She eventually falls to the ground. 7-year-old child falls to the ground as well from gunfire, one gunshot wound to the head. Like has been mentioned earlier today, he is in critical condition at this time. And at 2:07 p.m., she is pronounced deceased by Houston Fire Department personnel. Other things that we know at this point in regards to the investigation. Our shooter is identified by driver's license as Genesse Moreno, 36 years old, Hispanic female. There are some discrepancies. We do have reports she used multiple aliases, including Jeffrey Escalante. So she has utilized both male and female names. But through all of our investigation to this point, talking with individuals, interviews, documents, Houston Police Department reports, she has been identified this entire time as female, she, her, and so we are identifying her as Genesse Moreno, Hispanic female. There were 2 weapons of hers recovered on the scene, an Anderson Manufacturing AR-15, which was what she utilized to fire at the officers. There was a sticker on the buttstock of the rifle that stated Palestine. The sticker simply stated Palestine on the buttstock. Also within the possession of near her, what she brought in, according to video, and she had in a bag, was a .22 caliber rifle by Blue Line Solutions. She had that. She brought that in. She did not fire that weapon. We do have her vehicle. We are in possession of that. We will be processing that and see if there is more evidence. We want to thank our federal and state partners for their assistance in helping process the scene. We have uncovered some items. We do have some anti-Semitic writings that we have uncovered during this process. But like I said, we are 24 hours into it. It is very new. We are getting new information as the hours change. And so we are going to be delving into that more. But we do want to stress that she acted alone. We do believe this was what we term a lone wolf, lone suspect situation. We do not believe this is part of a larger nexus. She is not part of a larger group or set of individuals. We believe that Genesse Moreno acted alone. We do have some facts that she was put under an emergency detention order by Houston police officers, we believe in 2016. We do believe that she does have a mental health history that is documented through us. and through interviews with family members. And we do want to state that through our investigation, I mentioned anti-Semitic writing. We do believe that there was a familial dispute that has taken place between her ex-husband and her ex-husband's family, and some of those individuals are Jewish. So we believe that might possibly be where all of this stems from.
So a couple things there. One, it was an AR-15. I apologize. I said that it was just a long rifle. The reports that I had read earlier said long rifle. A long rifle was taken in but not used, and it doesn't appear that the target was some sort of mass casualty. It seems like it was maybe perhaps targeted towards one person or family, and that they used anti-Semitic statements in their writings based on the fact that this person's family was Jewish. And so a lot to pack in there, and I think that there's going to be the argument, right, where about, it's an AR-15, and how the media and how it's perceived, the AR-15. But in this situation, had there not been armed guards there as well, this could have probably turned into a much crazier situation, much more deadlier situation. So I know that's being brought up and that's being talked about. It's, it always will be. It's a talking point in the political world. They use that to pander one way or the other, right? But in this situation, it's unfortunate, that the little boy is probably not going to survive and was, gravely injured. But those officers, they acted in a manner that they probably should have, and the casualty level is a lot lower than what it could have been. And so kudos to those guys, and they're going through it too. It's not easy to be in a situation where even if justified, taking somebody's life. Police officers don't usually, typically, none that I know of at least, sign up to take someone's life. They usually want to serve the community, protect, and ensure that their community is safe. And sometimes a part of that is putting yourself into some dangerous situations where the outcome may be you might have to, that might be a result. But nobody goes into the job looking for that. And, there's going to be some therapy that they're going to need to go through and stuff like that. So, our prayers go out to, the little boy who's in the hospital right now, fighting for his life, and all of the victims' families, and the victims and anybody that was there, and also to those officers and what they're going to have to go through. One guy they've already mentioned, he's on administrative leave, pending the investigation, and I'm sure he's going to be found, that this was a good shooting. But they go through the rigor during that process. They're in administrative leave. They got to get a lawyer. At the end of the day, by law, somebody's life was taken by the hands of somebody else. So an investigation has to go into it. And typically it's a criminal investigation. They'll look into it, and then it'll go to grand jury where it'll get no billed, and it'll be cleared where they'll say it was a good shooting. But during that time and that process, that officer doesn't know that. Obviously in this situation, it's probably a little more cut and clear, but, everything is being looked at and everything is being judged to a T. And I don't know, until you're in that situation, the stress is high. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, they definitely saved more lives yesterday. 100%. Yeah, this type of situation can be kind of difficult to talk about. And it's unfortunate that these things happen. Unfortunately, this is probably not going to be the last time. The only thing that we can do is be vigilant and continue to look out for one another and look out at one another and make sure you're safe and your family's safe. Let's see. I said situation. Yeah, it is. It's a bad situation though. let's see, I'm trying to find my search warrant article that I brought up. I found it earlier and I pulled it up, but now it's missing. So I'm wondering if they pulled it down from the website. I have one more video we're going to watch real quick. This is
to have total transparency. As we stand before you today, you will know what we know as we learn it. I want to speak to our diverse community. Every place of worship is important to the law enforcement community that stands behind me. Whether it's our churches, our synagogues, our mosques, our temples, we are going to provide you protection. We're increasing security. Won't discuss publicly all provisions, but we're going to continue to make public safety our highest priority. I would also like to emphasize we need to continue to be aware of mental health issues in our community, indications that mental health played a role in an early investigation. Want to also ask the public not only keep the victims in their prayers, the suspect's family in our prayers. There was a lot of pain exhibited yesterday and being felt today. I want you to pray for the first responders. The two gentlemen that neutralized the suspect yesterday, a TABC officer and an HPD officer, did not go to work yesterday morning planning to have to use their weapons. They're suffering today. They need our prayers and our counseling. And in closing, let me thank the men and women of every agency that's represented up here today, and some are out in the field. I speak quite often about collaboration of our law enforcement agencies in our community. I want the public to know, I want Houstonians to know that we have every level of government represented here today, led by our fine, outstanding Chief Fenner. The scene yesterday was hectic, but people came together, agencies, all the agencies representing law enforcement in our community at the state level and at the federal level. It's an ongoing investigation, but that's the way cooperation is supposed to work. And to the Houston community, we feel, as we stand before you today, the community's unity. That's what great communities do. We don't start pointing fingers. We don't worry about who's going to get credit for work. We come together. This is a great community, great people, but with the first responders that showed up at the scene and have worked all night long and have an ongoing investigation. Let's keep our first responders. We want to assure Reverend Osteen's church that we understand the trauma that they went through to those families. We want them to understand. Everybody was doing everything they could on the scene yesterday, the reunification of the families. We had families separated from their children. So this is what collaboration and unity and dedication to public safety provides. Let's continue to support the first responders. We'll be very transparent as we go forward. And with that message, I would like to yield to Chief Fenner.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to first thank all of my colleagues, and that includes all the men and women on the front line. The mayor hit some points of the collaboration and the difficulty in the scene yesterday, but very proud of everybody who showed up and we got everything under control. I want to ask for prayers for a 7-year-old kid who's fighting for his life. And questions came up yesterday about him. And I think that what we need to do for him is pray. He's still in critical condition, fighting for his life. The last report I got, the 57-year-old male who was shot has been released. I want to ask for continued prayers for him and his family.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention too that supposedly while she was there, she had stated that she had some sort of like explosive device, and there was some chemicals that she had put on the floor and things like that. That they tested those things and they came back as negative for anything that was harmful. Needless to say, but I found this article here that because I'm trying to find that search warrant again. Still, you guys know where it's at. Do me a favor and send it to me. I appreciate that. But the title of this says, "Suspect illegally purchased rifle used in Churchwood shooting." I was kind of going through this as fast as I could, and I couldn't find it. But I don't understand how this person could have purchased this gun legally if they had the background that they claim they have. I mean, let's read this a little bit first. The person accused of firing rounds at the Joel Osteen Lakewood Church has been identified as Genesse Ivonne Moreno, 36-year-old Hispanic woman, according to the search warrant obtained by ABC 13. Houston Mayor John Whitmore and Police Chief Tony Finner gave an update in the investigation almost exactly 24 hours after the shooting. Overnight agents with the FBI, Texas Rangers, and ATF raided a Conroe home believed to be connected to Moreno. Authorities also found anti-Semitic writings but did not provide further details. Police added they believe there was a dispute with her ex-husband's family, some of whom are Jewish but are not members of the Lakewood Church. So the persons that she was having a dispute with were not members of the Lakewood Church. I wonder if the ex-husband is a member of the Lakewood Church. I know that the Lakewood Church, I don't think it's not a Jewish church. It's a Christian church. So that's an interesting point. I wonder who the target was in that instance. Then it says the shooting brought up concerns about the safety of religious institutions. Finner said patrols will be increased at places of worship across the city of Houston. The series of events unfolded just before a Spanish-speaking service as thousands of people were packed inside the mega church. The Houston department said Moreno was wearing a trench coat when she got out of her white vehicle and removed her biological 7-year-old son. So this was her son, according to ABC 13. And a bag from the backseat at approximately 1:53 p.m. on Sunday. Investigators said that she pointed a gun at security officers, forcing her way in, and immediately began firing several shots with an AR-15. So from outside, she forced her way in with the guns, and so they didn't let her in. I know that was a question, or somebody had put in the comment sections, did they let her in? It doesn't appear so. Moreno was killed with a gun during gun battle with officers while her son was by her side, and also shot. At least 12 shots were reportedly fired. It said Houston police initially reported that the child was 5. According to HPD, the shootout between officers and Moreno lasted less than 12 minutes, but Finner added that authorities are expected to provide more specific timeline later and did not specify whose bullet struck the child. As Moreno went down, officers reported that she threatened to have a bomb, prompting officers with the bomb squad to search her car and backpack, though there were no explosives found. Houston Fire Department Chief Samuel Peña said that of the investigation that the hazardous materials tested were conducted and there were no risk of exposure to any chemicals during the shooting of the church. According to the Texas Alcohol Beverage Commission, one of its members was among the multiple commissioned peace officers who responded to the shooting. TABC said Monday that the agent, Adrian Herrera, was working off-duty as a security officer at the church when Moreno opened fire. Herrera and one off-duty HPD officer engaged Moreno and neutralized the threat, the agency said. Per agency policy, Herrera is on paid administrative leave pending the outcome of the internal TABC investigation into the shooting. Herrera has been with the agency for approximately 5 years. Finner said that there is an update on Monday afternoon that the 7-year-old boy is fighting for his life. A 57-year-old man who was shot in the leg has been released from the hospital. The FBI is working with HPD in the investigation, adding that it's still too early to determine the motive. All right, if you have anything about the shooting, please contact Houston Police at 713-308-3600. There's more. I was like, I don't see anything about, well, here's the thing. That's the title for this article that I read, right? Suspect legally purchased, rifle used. I read through that entire, segment. There's nothing there. Now the next segment is inside Lakewood Church when chaos erupted. So are you just throwing titles out there that this was purchased legally? I don't see anything that said it was purchased legally there, where it was purchased, when it was purchased. I think that might have something to do with it too. Or was it purchased legally by somebody else? Let's see. So, no, it says the suspect legally purchased the rifle. So, there's a background check typically. So I wonder how that went. Amazing the shooter was on the anniversary of the Vatican. Don't or believe these people. I don't even know what that means. All right. Inside Lakewood Church when chaos erupted. So they had about 45,000 people there. Well, they, you know, I'm lying. I'm right. It averages 45,000 per week. So, I mean, they got what, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. There's probably a few masses or a few services per day. So you're probably looking at a couple thousand at the very minimum per service. So that's pretty crazy. That's a lot of people. I mean, this definitely could have turned into something way more deadly than what it did. Those officers definitely saved lives that day, 100%. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for letting me know. It says it panic spread quickly as people inside the church started running and trying to get to safety. Some managed to get outside the building but could not leave because officers locked down several blocks surrounding the church. This little video right here. Let me see if it'll.
We have now learned that a house that police believe is associated with the suspect in the Lakewood Church shooting has been raided.
Well, video shows agents with the FBI and other agencies outside the home in Conroe. We are working to identify how this may be connected and if anything was taken from that home. But here is what we know right now about the shooting. Houston police say around 2 p.m. yesterday, a woman in a trench coat with a long gun and a 5-year-old child entered that church and opened fire. Two off-duty.
All right, we already know that. I'm going to fast forward to where the videos are.
So obviously, so much panic erupted out. And so obviously so much panic erupted inside the building, and people who spoke with ABC 13 say that they were running for their lives and trying to find a place to hide. So some people did manage to make it outside of the building, but they could not leave because officers quickly locked down several blocks surrounding the church. Meanwhile, inside, others did what they could to try to hide. So we know some people were stuck in the church for hours waiting for police to give an all clear. We know that parents were separated from their children who were inside of the daycare. And according to HPD, a woman in her 30s was armed with a long gun and fired a few shots in the church before two off-duty officers returned fire, killing her. And so as this was all happening, I just so happened to be in this area running some errands. And I actually managed to speak with a father and a son who said that they were leaving Lakewood right as those shots happened.
I saw this lady running. She almost fell down the steps. And I told her, hey, you dropped something. And she said something in Spanish I couldn't understand. And I saw someone else running down the steps. And that's when I heard the two gunshots. I was going towards my family. And I heard another gunshot coming closer. So I was like, I can't go up there now.
And that father and son told me that in the chaos, they were separated from their family members. Some of their family was still stuck inside the building. Thankfully, they were not hurt, but they did have to wait quite a while in order to be reunited. And so as for Lakewood Church, they did put out a statement saying that they're absolutely devastated over what happened. We know that their next service is scheduled for Wednesday night. It's a regular service. I did notice that it is all online for Wednesday. The next in-person service is scheduled for Sunday. Charlie Edsity, ABC 13.
That's crazy. You know, just to see some of the, you know, the video that was out there, hearing the people that were there. It's a completely sad situation. Sheer panic, 100%. They must definitely be traumatized. She had several aliases, so any name she could have used to buy the weapon. That's true. You know, she had several aliases. You know, she probably had to gotten some sort of fake ID or something like that as well. And, you know, maybe perhaps that's how she bought it. But I just found it odd that they didn't say exactly how she bought it or where she bought it from. Just kind of says in the title that, hey, it's, you know, there's something there and there's nothing there. I mean, there could be, I don't know, but there's nothing there in the article. Meanwhile, inside the building, others did what they could try to hide. Some people were stuck inside the church for hours waiting for the police to give the all clear. During the chaos, some parents were separated from their children who were inside the church daycare. Now, that's got to be frightening. I couldn't imagine being, you know, a parent in that situation. You know, you're separated from your child. Your child's over here in daycare. You know, you have at least some, you know, gunshots that are happening, and you got word that something's going on. You know, there's chaos. There's people running. You know, they don't know what's going on in that moment. If there's one shooter or four shooters or where they're targeting. You know, there's been some horrific crimes that have happened. I mean, you know, I'm here out in San Antonio, and just, you know, an hour away is Uvalde, you know, where that tragic incident occurred. And so it's just a tragic situation. And, you don't think that that's going to happen, and you're in that situation where, things are happening, you're separated. You don't know if that person is crazy. Well, obviously they're crazy. They're going in, they're doing this, but if they're willing to go do this, are they willing to go to the child's daycare? And so as a parent, you're probably trying to get to that part of the church. And given the amount of people that this church holds, how far is the daycare from where you're at? So this could have been this was a completely tragic situation, and I couldn't imagine what those parents were going through. ABC 13 reporter Charlie Edisty happened to be in the area running errands when the shooting happened. She spoke to a father and son who were leaving the Lakewood as the shots were fired. I saw this lady running. She almost fell down the stairs. I told her, "Hey, you dropped something." Okay, so that was the information that we just saw in the video. So a little bit more about the suspect. It says, according to Whitmore, detectives are investigating a role in Moreno's mental health played in the shooting. They looked into her criminal history, which dates back to 2005, with the latest case coming in the summer of 2022 in Fort Bend County. So here's a list of the things that she's been arrested for and charged with. So on October 24, 2005, Harris County failure to stop and give information, sentenced to 20 days in Harris County jail. So she didn't ID herself. Typically, there must have been more to it, right? She must have been involved in something. Because typically, if you don't give your name and information, it's a misdemeanor. But first time offense, 20 days in jail, it's pretty harsh unless there was something much more to it. You know what I mean? And she probably took a deal to just get failure to stop and give information. She probably gave the information. And to get the 20 days in the lesser, degree of crime, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. August 6th, 2009, Harris County, assault bodily injury sentenced to 180 days for kicking a detention officer. Yeah, you can't be doing that. 180 days for... You can't be doing that. It's illegal. I get it. It's a little harsh. I wonder if she was like they call them all-stars, where constantly, problems, always getting arrested, things like that, and has built up a history and has priors and things like that. But according to this, is the rest of it have to be expunged unless she was like a juvenile during that time, and she might have other stuff from before. I don't know. But from 2005 to 2009, there's like 4 years there. From 2009 to 10, just a little bit less than a year. Forgery, sentenced to 2 days in jail trying to counterfeit a $100 bill. Right, kicking a detention officers equals actions inside of jail, her incarceration, or someone else. I don't know, because this apparently happened in 2009. She went to jail for just 20 days in 2005. So let me see. And these are the cases. I don't know this is telling us that it's 20 days, 80 days. So these are probably just convictions. There might be a lot of other stuff that she's gone to jail for or been arrested for that she didn't get a conviction for. And that maybe she pled down for, or pled out, or talked, like I mentioned, to get 20 days for stop and give information. That tells me there's something else to it, and that was she told on someone. All right. Harris County on 2010, a few months later, sentenced to 30 days for stealing hats and makeup. 2010, again, just a month later, invading, sentenced for 75 days in Harris County jail. (6/15/22), Fort Bend County, unlawful carrying of weapons, still an active case. So that was the last time that she was arrested, and that's what's currently going on. The rest of these stuff have sentences. I highly doubt that she has been convicted on every charge. Some of these charges have time, sentences with them that don't really drive with the crime, in my opinion, from what I've seen, in my personal opinion, unless, it was a plea down. You know what I mean? And then at that point, they give them the crazy much. 18 months later and still no sentencing. It was still an active case. It hasn't been closed. So it hasn't gone to grand. I would assume it would have gone to grand jury by now. I mean, unlawful carrying shouldn't take that long. I don't know the situation, but you come across somebody probably carrying a weapon that doesn't belong to them, and or because of their criminal history shouldn't be carrying that weapon. If they're a convicted felon, which it sounds like she's got quite a bit of this on her. The evading, if it was with a vehicle, that's a felony. Let's see. The detention officer is a felony. Assault on a peace officer or detention, I think that's a state jail felony. So, she's a felon. She's not allowed to carry guns. Now, maybe. I mean, the last one was 2010. Was the last time she went to jail. I think, if I remember correctly, I think it's only like 7 years, depending on the felony, obviously, where somebody's been convicted for a felony can then get a gun, depending on the crime. It's been a long time. I was a law enforcement almost 20 years ago, guys. So forgive me for my memory being slightly fuzzy when it comes to charges and things like that. Finner said that her family didn't attend services at Lakewood and stressed that Moreno acted alone. Authorities said that there has been discrepancies about Moreno, specifically with her name. She has used multiple aliases, including Jeffrey Escalante Moreno. However, authorities are going by her female name based on her pronouns of she and her. Authorities are looking into how Moreno was able to obtain weapons given her mental health history. Officials said that they recovered 2 weapons, including an AR-15 and a .22 caliber rifle in a bag. ABC News sources briefed on preliminary information that pro-Palestine message was written on the gun used by Moreno, but during Monday's press conference with Houston police authorities said a sticker on the weapons only read Palestine. The Houston Police Department said the AR-15 used in the shooting was legally purchased in December. Okay, so there's where it says that they were legally purchased. Before permits signed into law, Texans generally needed to be licensed to carry handguns openly or concealed. Applicants had to submit fingerprints, complete 4 to 6 hours in-person training, and a written exam and a shooting proficiency test as far as rifles go. Texas does not require a license to openly carry one in public. Texas is coming up on 2 years since permitless carry passed in the state legislature, which has allowed Texans to carry handguns without a license since September 2021. I think that's a little bit misleading, right? I mean, yes, you can carry a handgun, but it's got to be, registered and stuff, right? You can't not just anybody can carry a gun. That's a little bit misleading. So that's all I'm going to say. We don't understand why these things happen, but we know that God is in control. We want to pray for the 5-year-old boy and pray for the lady that was deceased and her family and all the other gentlemen. Pastor Osteen said, believe that we're going to stay strong and we're going to continue to move forward. Lakewood said that the community is devastated over what happened. They are scheduled to hold their visual Wednesday service online with the next in-person service set for next Sunday. Lakewood Church released the following messages to members on Monday. Dear beloved Lakewood Church and Iglesia family, we write to you with a heavy heart, deeply saddened by the events that unfolded within our church and community yesterday. We are grieving with you over the tragedy. May the healing hands of God even now begin to touch the lives of everyone involved and provide comfort for those in need. Yet even in the midst of such an act of darkness, I am inspired by the strength and resilience of our church family and those serving in our church. I also want to express my profound gratitude for the swift response of our security and law enforcement teams. Their courage and dedication undoubtedly prevented further harm and provided immediately security to our church community. Let us keep in our prayers. As we approach the days ahead, let us hold fast our faith. Remember that Remember that evil may cast temporary shadow, but it will never be extinguished by the lights of God's amazing love. In moments of uncertainty and pain, in our faith and that sustains us, guiding us and illuminating the path towards healing and hope. Together as a united church family, God will cause us to rise. Let us stand firm in our commitment to love and support one another, offering a comfort and solace to those who are hurting. In times like these, our faith is not merely tested, it is strengthened. It is during these moments that we draw closer to God, finding refuge in his unwavering presence and promise of redemption. We may not always understand the reasons behind such senseless acts of violence. We can find comfort in knowing that God remains in control and his love knows no bounds. Let us continue to lift our voices in prayer, seeking his healing touch and divine peace for all those affected. We are fervently praying for those too who were wounded, believing in complete recovery. Together we will rise with faith and resilience. May our love and God surround us and his peace dwell within our hearts as we walk forward with a message of hope. Praying for you, Joel and Victoria Osteen. Good words there. Let's see. And it goes, I'm curious why the security guard let her in the trench coat with a long rifle and assault rifle. It said up here that she forced her way in and with the gun. So I'm assuming she pulled the weapon on the security guard at the entrance and went in. Now this is a huge church. You know, I think it's like I'm not sure how much it holds. You know, let's find out. Capacity, like the church, 16,800 people. And so, I mean, you're probably looking at a few officers that are there. So if one officer is getting taken in, there's probably some reports and other officers coming in really quick. But yeah, it said there in that report that that she forced her way in. You know, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, let's put a couple of stars by them if you guys don't mind. I would appreciate that. Give me 1 second. I'm already getting a little notification from YouTube that the topic is too controversial. So if you guys don't mind giving a like and a share, I'd hope get this out there since YouTube's not going to help us on this one. I get it. You know, the topic is what it is. Let's see. 1 sec. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, let us know. Put them in the comment section. She used that child as a decoy. I think she used the child as a shield, you know, to protect herself from getting shot. And this was her biological son. You know, she was having an issue with, you know, what it sounded like is the boy's father and her boy's father's family. So I don't know if maybe the other intent was, you know, for both of them to lose their lives as some sort of revenge towards the father and the father's family. I think that there's a possibility of that. What does security at a church do? Is there a metal detector? I've never been to the Lakewood Church. The church that I attend does have armed security guards. There aren't metal detectors when you walk in. But it's not a church like this where there's 16,000 people in there. It's a smaller church where everybody knows everybody. Doesn't mean that something horrific can't happen. Obviously, those things can, but not the one that I go to. I haven't gone to one that has a metal detector. I don't know if Lakewood does or not. That'd be something to know. Let's see. Aren't places of worship gun-free zones? I don't know. I think they are, but I think that security can use guns. Let me see. Like I said, it's been about 20 years, guys, since I was in law enforcement. So now I think you can take guns into churches. Yeah. Ever since so there was a situation not too long ago where a guy went into a church and killed a bunch of people, and I think that since then there's been a lot of people that do take their guns. I will say that I know a few people who do as well at the church. You know, the smaller churches in Texas are probably not, well, none of the churches you should be, targeting, but a Texas church, especially as a recent, they're armed. We'll leave it at that. They are armed. Let's see. Well, no metal detector there. Thank you so much, Pam, for clearing that up. I assume any church or business can declare themselves gun-free. Yeah, I mean, you can put a sign there that says that this place is gun-free, but there are certain places that are deemed gun-free by the local government or state government. And so I didn't think a church was. I had to think about that for a second. And so, yeah, it's a senseless act, regardless of anything. It should not have happened. But I'm going to be on here for just a few more minutes, guys. If you guys have any questions, throw them out there. That way we can answer them and go through them. I'm gonna scroll up real quick, see if I missed anything. Maybe not her weapon. Yeah, it appears that it was. Seems like it was purchased legally in December, so it wasn't that long ago that this weapon was purchased. I wonder how long that this was in planning. Was the weapon purchased because with this incident in mind, or was it purchased? I don't know why it was purchased, but it asks. You have to ask the question, right? Given the time frame in which when this occurred. Weather for Houston says light rain yesterday, so a trench coat wouldn't necessarily be a red flag. Yeah, and I mean, depending on what time of day it is, too. The weather can be kind of weird out here in Texas. Sometimes it's colder in the morning and in the evening, and during the day it can get kind of warm. One day it'll be freezing, the next day it'll be really hot. I don't know what it was like yesterday, but it didn't seem like it was a very cold day. But, if it was kind of chilly, then I can understand why somebody in a trench coat wouldn't look so suspicious. Let's see. Osteen uses police and security and never has had any problems. Yeah. Any updates on the little boy? The little boy is not expected to survive. From what I've read, it stated that he was that he took a shot to the head and that he's in critical condition, not expected to survive. Unfortunate situation. Who's the actual father? It hasn't been spoken about. I'm sure that police have identified who this person is and spoken to them, but it hasn't been publicly notified, at least to my knowledge. Osteen is starting to look like Ron Rivers. What kind of idiot would drive their own car to commit a crime? Angel, you're trying to start things. Angel. Texas had a church shooting before. I don't know why they would make it a gun-free zone. Yeah. I didn't think it was. But I was like, I got to double check. It's been a while. Trench coat equals side-eye. You can't profile people, right? Just because somebody wears something or somebody appears to be some way. It's wrong to profile, right? So you're put in a tricky situation there. You know, people say, why didn't this officer, look at this person suspiciously enough to search them or something? But then when an officer, sees something that looks different or suspicious and searches somebody, then they're profiling and it's wrong and this and that. So it's a fine line that police officers have to walk when it comes to that situation, because it is a very tricky situation when you stop somebody just merely based on something doesn't feel right, something don't look right. You have to justify why you stopped a person, and if you're putting that in your report, well, you're gonna have some problems. It was not raining there on Sunday. Side note, they've released the suspect in the reach. I saw that. We're going to be talking about that too. The decision they made was heartbreaking, but they had to do what was best. She put that child in that position. Yeah. At the end of the day, she was responsible for everything that occurred, every injury, every loss of life, including her own. That was her responsibility. That was her doing. That doesn't mean that the officers aren't going to live with that. Unfortunately, they are, especially knowing if it comes back that, which it would be very difficult. I find it difficult if she was shooting an AR, that she was going to be able to hit her child in her arms. I don't know. I don't think that works. So obviously, the bullet came from somebody else. Somebody's going to have to live with that. You know what I mean? Even if it was justified, even if it was, that person wrongdoing, it's just unfortunate. Yeah. Well, she did use her own vehicle, Angel. That's true. I did say ask questions. She did use her own vehicle. Suicide criminal, maybe. Let's see. I think it's Sutherland Springs. How do you think, in your opinion, how she kept the child close to her? I don't know. Given the fact of where the child was hit, I'm assuming that, and given the training that officers have, I'm assuming that she lifted the child up and had the child center mass. That's where officers are trained to shoot. And when you're in a situation like that, you go to your training. It's muscle memory. It's something that you've been doing over and over and over again. And so, she probably picked him up and held him right around her chest, underneath her face. With his head probably somewhere on the chest area. To keep two guns and a kid. I think one of the guns was in the trench coat, like it was like strapped onto her. So I don't think it was a. She had them both in her hands. I think she had one in her hand and she had the child with her in the other hand. But without seeing, body cam footage or any of those things, everything's kind of speculation. But, based on training and where I would assume that she was using him as a shield, yeah, I think center mass. Didn't want to believe it. That's what I thought. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's heartbreaking for sure. All righty, guys. Well, I'm going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody that joined us. I'll be coming back on here maybe tomorrow. I don't know yet. I want to do this more often. I know we've been doing it Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Also, guys, I did a show yesterday on the Brian Koberger case. It was a members only. That show is going to be airing out tomorrow on Spotify. So if you want to catch that without having to, pay the membership, you can go check it out on Spotify. For those that do want to be members and, get on those on Sundays, we're going to be doing these, every Sunday now. I'll be doing a members live only. We'll be talking about a certain case or certain situation. You'll be answering your questions. And then, that will be aired on Tuesdays on Spotify. So if you're a member, you get to catch that live. You get to, ask your questions and stuff like that. And we'll give you guys, our thoughts on the situation. Go check that out. I put a clip on earlier today. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It was referencing what the prosecution and the defense had put out recently. It was a recent document dump. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be talking about the evidence that the prosecution has. I'll be dropping that video. It's also a clip from the Members Only Live. If you want to watch that all in its completion, you can become a member. It's still there. Or, like I said, go check it out on Spotify tomorrow. Also, just one last thing. If you guys are concerned about your privacy, go check out Data Seal. They'll get your name, your address, your phone number, all that stuff wiped off the interwebs, including your religious preference, your voting preference, things like that. You don't want all that out there all the time. You don't want anything out there so somebody can find you or use things against you. And if you feel like you have a stalker, finding your information and your address, it's very easy. Data Seal helps you out. You get a 5% discount. Link is in the description. So without further ado, guys, without that, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.